Next on the news, remembering a fallen hero 55 years after his death.
Pat Canavan was just a few months into the police academy when he was killed while breaking up a fight. Now loved ones are remembering him in a special ceremony. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
Saintly inspiration for some young Catholics in Brooklyn, how they can relate to this holy role model. Plus this.
We wait in hope.
Sharing their faith through song, these Catholic musicians are getting ready to take the stage, and Catholic students will benefit. And ancient loaves of bread uncovered in Turkey, which could have been communion 1,300 years ago. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. More than 50 years after his tragic death, a fallen NYPD officer was honored in Brooklyn. Probationary officer Pat Canavan was killed off duty in 1970 while bravely trying to break up a street fight in Bay Ridge. Family, friends, and fellow officers gathered at his gravesite to remember his sacrifice and keep his legacy alive. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the story from Holy Cross.
By the dawn's early light.
A crowd gathered around one grave at Holy Cross Cemetery on October 16th.
O'er the ramparts we watched.
To remember probationary officer Pat Canavan.
He was my little brother until one day I woke up and said, he's as tall as me, I better be careful.
Freeze it!
The Brooklyn native was off duty the night of September 7th, 1970, when he noticed a large fight in the streets of Bay Ridge. He identified himself as law enforcement and tried to break up the brawl, but it cost him his life.
It was a tragedy, and we just think of what he did to try to keep the peace. My parents took it very, very difficultly, and they certainly prayed frequently and thought of Pat.
Retired NYPD Lieutenant Gilbert Eaton grew up with Pat and was expected to be the best man at his wedding. Even though he passed decades ago, Gilbert never forgot his friend.
He would have been a good cop, I can tell you that right now, but I thought of Patty every day of the week. He never left me. Come, Patty, come.
Gilbert made sure his son, retired Detective Andrew, knew about Pat. When Andrew joined the bomb squad, he made a decision to keep Pat's legacy alive.
I asked, hey, I want to name my dog after Pat. 4 months of training at the NYPD bomb squad. It was to keep the legacy alive and, of course, the tradition of the NYPD.
Louis DeMarco was in the same police academy class as Pat and organized the ceremony to honor the fallen patrolman.
I'm very honored to be part of it. I'm just a little part of it, but you know what? The family's here, and they're very proud about it.
Academy cadets were also part of the ceremony, and Pat's brother Bob wanted them to know that their presence is valued.
I'm going to encourage them to wear their uniforms proudly and to step forward and say, we want to take care of the people of the city of New York.
In East Flatbush, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
Young people in Brooklyn gathered to venerate a relic of newly canonized Saint Pier Giorgio Frassati. The relic, a piece of linen from the bed where he died, was brought to St. Anselm's Church by Father James Caroli. The director of youth and young adult ministry for the Diocese of Brooklyn led a moment of reflection, showing the young parishioners how they can put their faith into action by following the life of St. Frassati. Those in attendance say they were happy to learn about a saint they can relate to.
He's a really good example of how we as young Catholics especially are able to live in the world without being of the world. And a lot of the time I feel like when we look at the saints, we always think of them as being, priests or religious. So he's a really nice example of how that doesn't necessarily have to be our calling in life to still become a saint and to still live a really holy and meaningful life.
A phrase that we often use is normal, right? And Pier Giorgio Frassati would certainly be a very normal person, the way that anyone in his age during his time would be. He loved to mountain climb. He loved having smoking a pipe with friends. He loved practical jokes on those friends, but at the same time, he was always rooted in his faith and always focused on Christ, and made sure that Christ was the center, the foundation, and the primacy of his life.
St. Frassati was canonized by Pope Leo XIV in September alongside St. Carlo Acutis. Together, they are patrons for youth and young adults. Young Catholics can draw inspiration from 7 more soon-to-be saints. Pope Leo is set to canonize 3 women and 4 men this Sunday, October 19th. The blesseds come from 4 continents, among them missionaries, martyrs, lay people, even a former member of a satanic cult who converted and became a major promoter of the Holy Rosary in Italy. Those canonizations are taking place on the day Catholics celebrate World Mission Sunday. It's a day collections are taken to support churches, hospitals, schools, and vocations in countries where the church is new, young, and poor. Pope Leo said he knows firsthand how much the donations can help.
When I served as a missionary priest and then bishop in Peru, I saw firsthand how the faith, the prayer, and the generosity shown on World Mission Sunday can transform entire communities. I urge every Catholic parish in the world to take part in World Mission Sunday. Your prayers, your support will help spread the gospel.
So he gave all Catholic parishes some concrete homework. Be more like those soon-to-be saints and help to provide support for those who need it most. The Diocese of Brooklyn took notes, and we will be celebrating World Mission Sunday as well. And you can join us. Mass will be at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph this Sunday, October 19th at 11 a.m. And speaking of supporting those who need it, bishops from the U.S. and Mexico are calling for a vigil for migrants. They're proposing October 22nd as a Catholic Day of Action to express solidarity and call for adequate immigration policies that promote safety for people fleeing violence and respect the dignity of migrants and refugees. The Tablet newspaper can help you pray for immigrants. If you check out our Catholic News Updates Instagram, you'll see 10 saints who intercede for immigration justice. Saints like Toribio Romo Gonzalez, widely venerated as a protector of Mexican immigrants. St. Rose of Lima, known for her service to the poor and indigenous peoples of Peru. And of course, the patroness of immigrants, St. Francis Xavier Cabrini, who worked with Italian immigrants here in the Diocese of Brooklyn. Speaking of Instagram, we do a lot of cool stuff on there, so grab your phones right now and follow us. Just scan this QR code. We'll give you a second to do so. All right, now you are in. It's your golden ticket to stay locked in on all things Catholic news, breaking stories, saint feast days, historical lookbacks, and nonstop inspiration straight to your feed. What are you waiting for? If you haven't scanned it yet, do it now. 2 well-known Catholic musicians joining forces for a good cause.
Unto us a child is born, King of kings and Lord of lords.
Sharing their faith through art, and Catholic school students in the Diocese of Brooklyn will benefit. Grammy-nominated Christian musician Matt Maher, along with singer-songwriter Sarah Kroger, will perform a one-night-only concert at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph on December 9th. It's all part of their Cathedrals Tour 2025. They're taking a break from rehearsals to join us now with a preview. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you guys. Nice to see you both. Now, I know this is the 2nd year for the Cathedrals Tour. I remember your beautiful concert at the Co-Cathedral last year. And I know you both worship at the same church in Nashville. But Matt, tell us, what's it like working together?
Oh, it's great. It's like working with a sister. Sarah and I have known each other for a long time. And so I think anytime there's a sense of history and friendship, and, you know, I think our faith is such a powerful connector of people. It's kind of one of the, I think, the aspects of our faith. You know, the word Catholic means universal. So it's been a real joy to be able to do this together.
Oh, I love it. And, you know, here in the Diocese of Brooklyn, DeSales Media is partnering with Futures in Education. So all of the proceeds from your concert give children in need the gift of a Catholic education. So, Sarah, tell me, how does it feel to know your performance will have a lasting impact for people in this diocese long after the concert ends?
I mean, it's incredibly overwhelming and such a privilege to be a part of such a beautiful thing, you know, to have a lasting impact. I think this is something I've been thinking about a lot as a worship leader, is how can our worship kind of leave the spaces that we find ourselves in, like communally, like how does our worship take action, you know? And this is a perfect way to do that, to actually have our worship not just be songs and which is beautiful, but actually like let it take root in the community and make a difference. I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'm so excited to be a part of that.
Absolutely. It's so much more than a concert. So Matt, what songs can people expect? Is there original songs? Are there Christmas classics? What can we see?
A little bit of everything. It's like it's a Christmas grab bag or a stocking stuffer, if you will. I mean, I think that there's definitely, we're trying to be mindful of the season of Advent and kind of have a night of worship of songs that sort of, I think, focus a little bit more on the anticipation of Christmas. But there's probably a couple of sneak peeks as well of obviously that season, because especially, you know, up in Brooklyn, it's such a magical time of year as the holidays are approaching. So we're really looking forward to being able to sing and pray with everybody.
Oh, yes, of course it is. And one more plug, Sarah. Why should our viewers get tickets to this concert?
Oh, man, because it's a really special, beautiful night. To be in a space like the cathedral is historic. It connects you to a history of believers in a way that I think other venues maybe don't. The history of that space, the beauty of that space, the opportunity to come together in a season of anticipation and to prepare our hearts in this way for celebrating the coming of Christ is, to me, it's like there's nothing like it. So you do not want to miss it. It wouldn't be the same without you there.
Absolutely. We are really looking forward to this concert. Matt Maher, Sarah Kroger, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So once again, the Cathedrals Tour will be coming to the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph. That's at 856 Pacific Street in Brooklyn at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 9th. Tickets are on sale now. Just go to mattmarmusic.com/cathedrals. For the first time in more than 500 years, the King will pray with the Pope. Next week, King Charles will become the first British monarch since the 16th century to pray with a pontiff at a church service. It will also be the first time the King has met Pope Leo. During the state visit, the two will attend a service at the Sistine Chapel, which will bring together clergy and choirs from both the Catholic Church and the Church of England. Meanwhile, in Turkey, archaeologists have discovered 5 small loaves more than 1,300 years old, one which bears the image of Jesus. The loaves date back to the 6th to 8th centuries and may have been used for communion. They were made of barley and were well preserved thanks to their carbonization and an oxygen-free environment. The loaf with the figure of Jesus had a Greek inscription reading, "With our gratitude to the blessed Jesus." Wow. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.